Well, hello there. Shout out to the raid over there, Ricky, and anything is possible, and coming into Rumble. What's up, guys? I hope you're well tonight. Dragon Rose, Joe in Florida. What's up, Molly and Jorge and James over there on Discord. Starting Troubled Minds going on now, and yeah, let's get weird. Shout out Shane. Here we go.
But I think the development of full artificial intelligence will spell the end of the human race.
It's a flying object, and we don't know what it is. I would hope somebody is checking it out.
It was a rocket or whatever, but incredibly fast, opposite direction. It was too fast to be an airplane.
I'm glad the Pentagon is looking at this, because if it poses a threat, I want them on top of it.
Well, the craft generates its own gravitational field.
So you said there's lights in the sky?
The internet has become the command center for criminals and terrorists.
911, what's your emergency? I need help, please help me!
Aliens won't let it happen. You know, that's what we're instructed to say.
Roswell, Area 51. Alien kept deep under the ground.
1, 0, 1, 1, 1, 0, 1, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11.
Self-serving. You're here for a reason. You're listening to Troubled Minds Radio. Broadcasting live from a secret bunker just off the extraterrestrial highway. Somewhere in the desert sands outside of Las Vegas. From somewhere in space-time, loosely labeled Generation X on planet Earth. And asking questions of you in earnest. Into the digital darkness.
Well, good evening, and welcome to Troubled Minds Radio. I'm your host, Michael Strange. We're streaming on YouTube, Rumble, X, Twitch, and Kick. We are broadcasting live on the Troubled Minds Radio Network. That's KUAP Digital Broadcasting. And, of course, 88.4 FM, Auckland, New Zealand. Tonight, let's get weird. As usual, shout out Shane in the chat. Loves it when we get weird. We get weird a lot, though. That's really what the premise of the show is to look at the world outside of the paradigm of, the sane narratives that are happening out there, okay? However, if you'll recognize what's happening in the past 5, 10, 15, 20 years, or even since 1999, dare we suggest, peak humanity as the Matrix might describe it. Yeah, that Matrix, the movie. Well, it's been getting weird for the last 20 years or so, 20, 25 years. And even more weird is this disclosure debacle, or UFO disclosure, UAP, that whole psyop that they've been leaning on since 2017, the Tom DeLonge thing, and all the rest of it, right? Well, the plot thickens because we've done shows on this in the past in different ways, but they were based on some secret cabal in the Pentagon trying to keep people from recognizing disclosure because it was a demonic thing. The aliens are demons, okay? And this is one of the most basic things. If you get into any kind of cursory ufology in any capacity whatsoever, you very quickly you'll run into the idea that demons are aliens and vice versa. And there's some sort of, Jacques Vallée style, passport to Magonia aspect, the trickster aspect of this thing, whatever this big P phenomenon is. Shout out to Night Stalker out there teaching me that one. But the thing is super weird when you look at what's actually happening, because we have tons of things happening in the geopolitical space. We have tons of stuff happening domestically in the political space, release the files, all the stuff, right? All the distractions everybody's always talking about. But in this particular case, we start with this Collins elite. Okay. Now this was the basis for this for years and years and years. And let me just read the first part of this, and then we'll get to the meat and potatoes of the show tonight. But the Collins elite is an alleged informal and secretive faction within the U.S. government comprising former intelligence officers, military personnel, and religious figures that emerged during Cold War-era UFO investigations in the 50s and interprets unidentified flying objects and related paranormal events as demonic deceptions orchestrated by malevolent interdimensional entities rather than extraterrestrial phenomena. Okay, and so these people supposedly, this secret shadowy cabal inside the Pentagon and at the deepest levels of the intelligence community, are actually trying to keep this under wraps because they don't want this in the mind's eye. Okay, they don't want us thinking about these things because these things are demons. They are demonic. They are these malevolent interdimensional entities. You know, Alex Jones, anybody? I feel like I should take my shirt off and go on an Alex Jones rant. Okay, kind of that wild level of stuff here. Now, to throw fuel on this fire. Now, this is an old idea. Okay, but just recently, J.D. Vance, our vice president, I know, boo. Look, I don't like anybody in office, and he creeps me out especially because I don't know what to make of him. Certainly he's a liar. Okay, there's no doubt about that. But when he says things like this, and I'll tell you what he said in just a moment, but when he says things like this, I don't know what he believes. I don't know if he's truly believing these things he says, and they sound bonkers off the rails. Well, you decide that. But from an elected politician, this is not something you would expect them to say. But, well, all the rules have definitely been thrown out the window in 2026 anyway, but I digress. Phone number should be working, and yes, we are taking your calls at that phone number. I see there is somebody holding on the line. Maybe that's you. We'll get to you in a second here. So, okay, so let me set this up properly. So the way this happened was this, all right? The vice president of the United States went on a podcast just a couple days ago and said he thinks, as we're describing, aliens are demons. Not in a hushed voice, not off the record, on camera. Yeah, to millions of people, while casually mentioning he plans to visit Area 51 with the highest security clearance in the country. And the culture shrugged. Meh, whatever, right? But of course, the UFO world is up in a tizzy about this for good reason. So what does he mean? And how deep do the lies go? So anyway, meanwhile, Pentagon factions are reportedly blocking the president's UFO declassification order because they believe the phenomenon has demonic or satanic origins. This Collins elite, right? A Washington insider is preparing to hold a press conference on May 1st about the internal resistance. There are claims of a presidential disclosure speech planned for July 8th, which I'm not sure that's accurate because there's a lot of people lying about a lot of things for clicks and engagement. So buyer beware when you listen to randos on the internet out there. And Congressman Burchett is warning that UFO scientists are turning up dead after testifying to Congress and pointedly adding that he is not suicidal. Okay, so what the hell is going on with all this? Now, that whole story of the disappearing scientists and the one high-ranking military, I didn't add that to this pocket of things tonight. But if you guys know something about that, I want to hear your take on that as well. But we're starting with this. Let me just play I got the clips. There's no need for me to ramble on about this. Let me just play what Vance said. You can hear it in his own words if you have not heard it yet. Here you go. Listen to this. This is one J.D. Vance just a couple days ago on the Benny Johnson show. And I don't like any of these guys. Just once again, let's leave the politics out of this. We can agree that these guys are scumbags of the highest order. Leave it at that. Let's talk UFOs and let's talk disclosure and let's talk demons as aliens. This is what J.D. Vance had to say a couple days ago. And action.
You're going to release all the UFO files?
We're working on it. It's funny. When I came in, I was obsessed with the UFO files. And then you start getting really busy worrying about the economy and national security and things like that. But I've still got 3 more years as vice president. I will get to the bottom of the UFO files.
Okay. Have you peeked? Have you done a peek?
Have I what?
Have you done a peek? I mean, like,
So I actually haven't. I have
full
not.
Independence Day.
I have not been able to spend enough time on this to really understand it. Yeah. But I am going to. Trust me. I'm obsessed with this. I've already had a couple of times where I'm like, all right, we're going to Area 51. We're going out to New Mexico. We're going to sort of get to the bottom of this. And then the timing of the trip just didn't work out. But trust me, anybody who's curious about this, I'm more curious than anybody. And I've got 3 years of the very, very tippy top of the classification. I'm going to get to the bottom of it.
Okay, so you haven't been to Area 51 yet?
Not yet.
Some
not
people
yet.
say they keep the UFOs in Ohio. They might,
Hangar 18, Hangar 18, right? I've heard that as well, but I don't know. I haven't looked into it yet.
Okay, all right. Well, we're waiting for it. We saw aliens.gov. We saw aliens.gov.
I don't think they're aliens. I think they're demons anyway. But
and there's the bombshell. I don't think they're aliens. I think they're demons anyway. Okay, and there's a second part to that clip. Yes, he is. Fred says he's such a douche. Yes, he is. And the scary part about people like this is sociopaths that just lie constantly. You really have a difficult time untangling what they believe. But think of it this way, right? In the sense of call it disclosure, or call it maybe his belief system. Like, you don't know what part of that may or may not be real to him. But think of it this way, is if he really believes that, and he's like, well, I haven't had a chance to look into it yet, and he really believes that it is like that level of, heaven and hell converging on planet Earth. And he's like, we could do something about it, in the mind's eye, but we haven't, there's other things going on. Like you clearly fully know he doesn't believe the things he's saying. And this is just another deflection, in my opinion. And I don't trust him as far as I could throw him. And he's got the Peter Thiel connections with Palantir and all kinds of stuff. So like I said, I don't trust anybody in office these days. They're all corrupt, and they're all bought and paid for by somebody. Okay. Now, part two, I'm going to skip the break and we'll go straight to this, because let's hear these clips. Part two. Now, this is so he drops the bombshell there and says, well, I don't believe they're aliens anyway. I think they're demons. Okay. Part two, action.
That's a longer discussion.
Well, I can't let you go without a follow-up on that, because Barack Obama is on this podcast and he goes, yeah, aliens are real, but like, here's where they're not. And,
I did not.
And so Obama says, yes, aliens are, he gets asked point blank, are aliens real? He said, oh, yeah. And then he goes, but they're not at Area 51. And
where are they?
Well, that's what he says. Right. There's a great question. Trump had to go save him, and he said he's going to declassify. Okay. So you think they're demons?
Well, look, I think that celestial beings who fly around, who do weird things to people, I think that the desire to describe everything celestial, everything as otherworldly, to describe it as aliens. I mean, every great world religion, including Christianity, the one that I believe in, has understood that there are weird things out there, and there are things that are very difficult to explain. And I naturally go, when I hear about sort of extra natural phenomenon, that's where I go to, is the Christian understanding that, there's a lot of good out there, but there's also some evil out there. And I think that one of the devil's great tricks is to convince people he never existed.
Been watching a little bit of The Usual Suspects, Kaiser Sose as the devil himself. Now, of course, the line being that the greatest trick the devil ever pulled was convincing the world that he didn't exist. Okay, so there you go. Now the deal is this. Like I said, that was J.D. Vance. That was the Vice President of the United States saying emphatically, implicitly, that this is what he believes, and it is the aliens are not as you expect. They are demons. He believes they're demons. Okay, but it's so low on his priority list, he hasn't really looked into it yet. Once again, so clearly there's some shenanigans here. I mean, look, but there's some things happening in the world, and maybe he's partly to blame for a lot of the terrible things happening in the world right now. So look, like I said, I don't want to get into that stuff, but you get what I mean here. So suddenly, the idea of that Collins elite, that cabal of insiders that have been around since the 50s, keeping this UFO under wraps, the UFO disclosure aspect under wraps, now suddenly are in plain daylight. They're looking us in the face and they're saying the words that we're not supposed to hear. They're saying the quiet part out loud. Now, it used to be something they hid from. Like I said, we did a whole show on the Collins elite in the past, and there are names associated. There are, actual individuals that have been pointed out as it's probably this guy, it's probably that guy, this type of stuff. And because you don't really know, right? When you're talking about sort of a secret cabal of, insiders and intelligence community officials and military folks and stuff. Yeah, I mean, how would you really know unless you really knew? And so there's a lot of speculation about who's who and what's what in the terms of Collins elite. But in this particular instance, this is the Vice President of the frickin' United States. So there you go. Well, the Collins elite has now stepped out of the shadows and into the light and said directly, emphatically, well, aliens are demons. And this is an old trope. This is one of those things that, like I said, I don't know what to make of it. I really don't. Except we're going to get to Rudolf Steiner tonight, and he knows what to make of it because he predicted this. Okay. Now, read the write-up if you haven't. It is very good tonight. And, most nights it's pretty good. Tonight it is very good. It's called Disclosure's Demon Problem, the Spiritual War Behind UFO Secrecy. Please go check it out if you have not. It starts with this Benny Johnson, J.D. Vance bit, but then it turns into something a little more unexpected. Rudolf Steiner and an entity called Ahriman of the Zoroastrian tradition. Okay, so we'll get to that as we go tonight. We are taking your calls if you want to be part of the conversation. The number to call is 702-857-6939. Click the Discord link at troubledminds.org. And what do you believe? Like, what is going on with this? Do you think there is legs to the idea, the old idea, that aliens are demons, vice versa, whatever? Or do you think it's so ridiculous because, and also, I'll frame the ridiculous statement in the way I look at this. Like I said, and I've always said this, you can't really determine which is which until you kind of catch both of them and put them in a zoo next to each other, right? That's what I mean. And no, and I'm also not suggesting you're going to be able to catch a demon and put him in the zoo. Okay, but you get my meaning. When things are sort of ephemeral in the case of how they present themselves to people, well, it's a subjective experience. So how do you bottle or capture a subjective experience, put them side by side, and really figure out what's going on other than regular people like us talking about it? Right? So I don't know. And all the disclaimers apply. Look, I try to be as radically agnostic as possible in all the ways, but I'm human. So I'm not going to be as perfectly neutral in all the ways. Okay. However, there's no truth to be found here. These are ideas. These are discussions. These are looking at what's happening in the larger zeitgeist. And this is us just getting together, talking about these ideas. So no truth to be had here. These are ideas. These are kind of what's happening type of conversations. I call them a philosophical construct. So that's that. If you're here for truth, you're in the wrong place. Go find somebody who's going to lie to you and tell you they know the truth, because truth is a perspective. It's a slippery fish, as I like to say. Anyway, we're taking your call, 702-857-6939. Hang tight, James. Whoever this is been on hold for quite some time, so we'll go to you, James. You'll get as much time as you need. Let's go to whoever's on the phone line. You're on Troubled Minds. What's your first name? Where are you calling from? Go right ahead. Test 1 2. Are you there? Hello.
You know me.
I know you.
You know me.
Okay.
You know me.
I know you. Jay Winch.
How you doing, Mr. Strange?
I'm good, man. How are you?
So,
what's on your mind? Go right ahead.
I'm doing pretty good. So I'd love to just kind of chime in the first part. I know you got a lot of people lined up. So the first part of the vice president, he kind of laughed when he was like, oh, July 8th. Well, I mean, predictive programming, The Simpsons, this, that, and the other. We got a 250-year anniversary of America being America from this 4th of July. 4 days later, it's July 8th. You had it, Independence Day, the movie with the aliens and this, that, and the other. And it's just kind of weird because anybody that knows history, a major empire normally has 250 years unless it rewrites itself. Rome had the first version of Rome, then the second version of Rome, and then the third version of Rome was the Catholic Church, and that pushed over into, Western civilization with the England, this, that, and the other. But the second part of it is he kind of laughed like, well, I think they're demons. Well, if you ask me, I think they are too. And anybody that follows like the aliens and, like Bob Lazar, this, that, and the other, the things that you always hear is they say, do not say Yahweh, Jesus Christ, blah, blah, all these different things in front of them because they will beat you, kill you, or hurt you personally. Well, it kind of leads me back to, well, if they don't like to hear that name, maybe there's a reason for it.
Yeah.
Because a belief has power over them.
Yeah, this was said by Tom DeLonge recently, that it didn't matter specifically if it was Jesus, the name of Jesus, invoking that particularly. It was a deep belief that sort of chased them off. It could be the Buddha or anything else, but I've definitely heard that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you had the Indians with their shamans, and your Latin American and South American people with their shamans, and you had Buddhist priests, you had all these different things across the world that had a higher power that was able to chase them away and keep them at bay. And it's just weird. So it's kind of like this, that, and the other. But then you look back, and I can't remember if it's Pike or Crowley. One of them talked about summoning a certain person that looked like an alien and kind of gave them the future of what's going to come on and what's going to happen. That same person wrote a book about W1, 2, and the supposedly incoming W3 and how it was going to play out and powers that be there and why to be fought. And he hasn't been wrong. But there's also another book that hasn't been wrong. And that book ties back to the Dead Sea Scrolls and the ancient Torah. Hasn't been wrong yet. I mean, there's some diversity here and there, and well, it's a translation of man. If I tell you, hey, take a left, turn right, go a half mile, and you turn around and tell the same person, take a left, then turn right, and then after you turn right, go a half mile. And then the next person will be like, well, turn left, wait a little bit, then turn right, wait a little bit, then go half a mile. So as we communicate, we get further from the truth of what it is. And that kind of also ties into why things are the way they are. It's like words have meaning. And if I say something in a certain way, but if I reflect on a certain word, like if I'm like, hey, how you doing, mofo? Like, just laughing with you versus, hey, mofo, what the hell you doing? To me and you, it's still joking. But if I say that to somebody else, they're going to go from, hey, he was joking with me, hey, he wants to fight me.
Yeah.
So that's where they get into the words have power and meaning. So,
yeah,
like I said, I was going to keep the show. I know it's early in the show. I know you skipped a break. So I'm pretty sure you got a break coming up. I'm going to jump back into YouTube and let you do you, man.
You're the best.
Thanks for taking my call.
Appreciate the call. That's Jay Winch in Missouri. Always a pleasure. Have a great night, and we'll talk to you soon. Appreciate the call early on there. And a couple things. So shout out Astro Sweat and Real Fringe over there on Rumble. Thanks for the donations, donating some subs to people over there. Appreciate that very much. The Robert also wanted to chip in and point out this. Sorry, but we all agree Vance and Benny are scumbags is unsettling. You do not speak for everyone, Mike. I disagree. Okay, you are correct. I do not. I'm agreeing with myself, and that's that. But just giving you the lay of the land when it comes to this stuff to kind of beat us off the politics track. That's all. So that's all I was saying. So if you like those gentlemen, sorry about that. I do not. I just like I said, I'm so past it in my mind's eye now, politics, that all these people just turn my stomach. So if I'm wrong about that, then I mean the debate floor is open. And of course, you can call and tell me where I might be wrong about that. Because don't forget, I'm wrong about a lot of things. That's the point of being here. But thanks for correcting me. But like I said, I'm just so disgusted with everything that's going on in the world that that's how I feel in the moment. And I'm entitled as well. Anyway, love to hear your thoughts. We are taking your calls at 702. What is the damn number? 857-6939. Click the Discord link at troubleminds.org. James, got about 2 minutes left for you. And then you're welcome to, of course, sit in and stay after. But what's your take here? I'm not sure you heard the clips previous to tonight, but the president of the United States, vice president, saying aliens are demons. Welcome to the thing. How you doing? Go right ahead.
I'm okay. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Good. Yeah. I saw the title and everything, and had to jump in. And yeah, happy to sit in if that's okay, like you said. And the thing that always fascinates me is you never hear. At least I never hear the whole opposite of this, which is demons or angels. And yet, if you look at reports of aliens. Did I say that right? Aliens are angels. I don't know if I said that right or not. Anyway, I'm all over the place tonight. And yeah, if you look at reports of supposed alien encounters, they range from good to bad to neutral. So I find that fascinating, again, that, you don't hear that so much. But if you look at the narratives, the big sort of narratives or agendas, those are the two big ones. They're all good or they're all bad, which, again, I don't think it's ever so simple.
Yeah, which is the point. It's the point of this, like I said. So I apologize if I overstepped in the political space here. But like I said, I'm so disgusted with all of it. And could there be a more contentious time for disclosure and really kind of narrowing down the idea of aliens versus demons. And like you said, angels and the different, I don't know, these frequencies of these entities that are, as I described, ephemeral in some sense. Like you can't catalog them. You can't, as Fox Mulder might say, you can't easily catalog or categorize these things because everybody sees them in a different way. So if it's not easily categorized, then what can you do with it? And that becomes a part of the problem when you talk about this stuff, is sort of the human biases leak out, and then we end up fighting about other things instead of talking about what's happening here. And I don't know. I don't know those answers, but I do know that it creeps me out just a little bit when I think about aliens and demons and what this looks like going forward. What do you believe? Do you think that the actual entities, the Collins elite, has now stepped out of the shadows in the face of the Vice President of the United States? Do you think aliens are actually demons? Or nah, somewhere in between? 702-957-6939. Click the Discord link at troubledminds.org. More from James coming up. We got Joe in Florida and your calls as well. Don't go anywhere. Be right back.
You're tuning into Troubled Minds, the show where mystery knows no bounds. Stay tuned for revelations that'll keep you questioning the fabric of reality.
They said it's just lights on some grainy screen, but I've watched good men come back not the same. Eyes like cracked glass, hands still shaking, classified hallway, floor keeps swaying. You got a demon problem, calling it a weather balloon, naming every shadow science while it stares you down in the room. You got a demon problem, dressed up in a briefing file, can't cast it out with another lie or a sideways smile. Heard a chaplain whisper in the stairwell, kid, this feels older than any base we built. Symbols on a fuselage match the ones in ancient ink, different centuries, same cold stink. You got a demon problem, calling it a weather balloon, naming every shadow science while it stares you down in the room. You got a demon problem, dressed up in a briefing file, can't cast it out with another lie or a sideways smile. What if it's not from the stars? What if it crawled from our wombs, feeding on the pride in our archives, the fear in these windowless rooms? Name it right or die in circles, chasing dots that never land.
I thought that was kind of cute. Got a demon problem dressed up as a weather balloon. What's up, guys? Hope everybody's well tonight. Over there on Rumble. Again, thanks to Astro Sweat and who else was that? Appreciate that, guys. And Real Fringe for the donating memberships over there. And thank you, Robert, for the donation as well. What's up? We got Ricky Puff is here. Good evening, Carl. Hello, folks. If I missed anybody, I'll try and get you as we go. Lots going on in my mind. Ricky, of course, for the raid. Appreciate that. What did I miss? Gordo, I see ya. Real Fringe, like I said. Hello. I'll circle back. I think Hiker is here as well. Yep, there you go. And who else? We got Eric, Herschel, APOC, Dragon Rose. What's up, Matzell, David, 87. We got Chef Pete, Joe in Florida. Daryl in New York. We got Molly and the Robert in Pennsylvania. We'll talk to both Joe and the Robert coming up. More from James as well. What do you guys know about this? It's weird, right? It's an old idea, but it is resurfacing in the news cycle. Here we go. Trouble Minds happening right about now. Welcome back to Troubled Minds. I'm your host, Michael Strange. We're streaming on YouTube, Rumble, X, Twitch, and Kick. We are broadcasting live on the Troubled Minds Radio Network. That's KUAP Digital Broadcasting. And, of course, 88.4 FM Auckland, New Zealand. Tonight, we're taking your calls as we go deep. This is how deep we're going to get. Rudolf Steiner in 1919, he said, at least the sentiment was, the people who swear by the gospel alone and reject all deeper spiritual investigation will form the beginning of a flock for Ahriman when he appears. Their demons stop looking crowd is not fighting the enemy. They are the welcoming committee. And we'll get to that and what that means in Rudolf Steiner's sort of can I say it? Theosophical. Anyway, I mess it up every damn time. Anthroposophical society and the things that he's doing. Links are in the description, and he passed away in 1925 approximately, and he's got some really wild ideas about, not just because it's not locked into a spiritual aspect of a singular religion or a dogma. It's looking at multiple ideas of good and evil in the larger context of that human space, that spiritual struggle. So I find it highly fascinating that here we are in 2026, and that stuff is still relevant. And I'll explain as we go, because like I said, got a lot of calls coming in. Appreciate you guys very much. Thanks for being patient. And let's go again, 702-857-6939. Is that correct? Yeah. 857-6939. Thank you for being patient, gentlemen. And let's go back to James if you got anything to add here, because I know we cut you short at the end of the break there. Welcome back. What do you got for any of this stuff? And all yours, my man. And we'll go to Joe and Florida after you.
Oh, not much more. I think I kind of put out what I had to say about the overall topic, and looking forward to the rest of the calls and the other things you have as well, because I did not get to look at the write-up.
Okay, perfect. I do encourage you to when you get a moment, and if not, I'll explain it as we go. I'm calling this Disclosure's Demon Problem, the spiritual war behind UFO secrecy. Now, that's the point. That's the entire point. And do you think there is something to this or not? As usual, look, I can see it both ways, and I think it's important to recognize there are going to be multiple angles to things as complicated and deep as this, meaning it goes back into not just the dogma cycles I always talk about, but into the deep spiritual primordial beginning of humanity itself. So I don't know. I mean, I'm not saying demons aren't real. I'm not saying aliens aren't real. My tinfoil tingles when you say they're the same thing. That's all. But what do I know? Like I said, I haven't bottled them and put them in a zoo as yet, so I can't be an authority on the space. So pardon my frustration, trying to remain as neutral as possible, but I am frustrated in a lot of ways about a lot of different things. But I digress. One more time, 702-857-6939. Click the Discord link at troubledminds.org. We'll put you on the show. It is as easy as that. Thank you for being patient, my friends. Joe in Florida, you're on Troubled Minds with Mike and James. How are you, sir? And go right ahead.
I'm okay. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, sir.
So good topic. Actually, it's kind of funny because I opened up my Yahoo News not too long ago, and sure as heck it had Aleister Crowley and Lamb, and basically this topic. I didn't excuse me, I didn't read it just because I had a feeling you would be doing this show tonight. But here we are. So just wrote some notes, and I start to wonder. In a UFO book I had read, the UFO Bible, I guess it was like an encyclopedia, that even Jesus by definition is an alien. So anybody that's not from here, definition is alien. And it is perspective, which we've kind of touched on. But some of the books I've just read, Leaving Eden was one of them. I forget the author's name. But anyway, he has these books about the Garden of Eden and Leaving Eden, but old gods, or the old God of the Old Testament, and Ezekiel, and the UFOs, and all of those things that we're seeing flying around in the sky and reporting, and the burning bush, and all of those experiences could have certainly been aliens. Now, you could have called them gods, but I'm sure they scared the hell out of everybody, right? And maybe they gave us a book of rules and things like that. And then at some point in time, at least in the God of the Old Testament, which had some bloodlust in there, kind of maybe disappeared and let humanity do its own thing. But still possibly calls the shots and, I start to wonder, I've said it before on the show, like presidents and their hair turning white from stress or from whatever, but maybe they're shown something from the other world and everybody falls into line. So I'm, going on that tangent. Other things that kind of make me wonder if they're demons or gods or whatever it is. This guy, Tyler Hansen or whatever, shows up on my Facebook here and there. He's a flat earth guy, but if his argument was true, he says there's almost 200 craters on the earth, like 197 or something. And basically the account of the demons being thrown out or the angels being thrown out of heaven is about 200 supposedly. But if they are here and they're timeless, what it kind of makes me wonder is those of us who are on the surface keep multiplying, right? So clearly, because humanity has multiplied, you can clearly see a change in the environment just from us expanding and multiplying. If there is something here, which I certainly believe there is, but tonight I really was approaching it a different angle. I'm thinking if something is down there or on the moon or here, is there an ability for that to multiply? Or can they not? Maybe they're just long-lived. Or they're interdimensional, and what pops into my head is Q from Star Trek. Q from Star Trek was more mischievous. I wouldn't say that he was good. I wouldn't say that he was totally evil. He was testing humanity, but there are some episodes that explore what it's like to be a god or a demon and be bored. So whether you come out of the dimension and bother people, or you come up from underground and you bother people just to mess around, again, it's perspective, right? So if we're Christian and we have a bad dream or we get abducted or something sitting on our chest, it's an incubus or a succubus, whatever, or a demon. But getting back to the reproduction thing, if there was something here, do they reproduce? And do they reproduce like us? I don't know if they do or don't. I know we can't see what's going on under the oceans and things like that, but you would kind of think if they were reproducing like we are here, somebody from there would maybe pop up somewhere and say, hey, we're here. Like they would be a whistleblower going on a tangent, right? Like they would be like an alien whistleblower that kind of shows up and goes, hey guys, yeah, we're kind of messing around with you guys. We don't have buttholes, so we want to come play with yours because we're trying to figure it out. Something like that. I don't know, but it is a steady torture when you're abducted or you have these experiences, right? It's horrifying, but at the same time, it's horrifying getting up every day if you have to read the news because you just don't know. So, but it takes me on this voyage of, I thought about it last week, and then I think about it tonight, and you hear about this, this bullshit Stargate in Iraq. Now there's rumors creeping up in Iran. We know that there's a certain cult of people here and there that believe that they have to do certain things to bring about their God. I'm wondering if they're looking for the Ark to open something, or they're looking for a Stargate to actually invite, all the good times in. But I just don't know. I don't know. And having the vice president say that just because he has a title, it makes it important. But we know Aleister Crowley has said it. Other people have said it. And I just think that we can't be happy for too long on this planet because something pops up and probably influences what we do. We're already bred this way. But there's got to be a reason why war is the mother of all invention, why we're being pushed in a certain direction. I don't know. It's kind of where I'm at.
Fair enough. Do you think that the vice president is just saying this as sort of a deflection? Is this a think tank talking point when people bring up aliens to just invoke demons as a, kind of a way to engage a political base, a particular political base of the Bible Belt. I don't know. What do you think? Do you think he actually believes the words he's saying there?
I think that we're OG here. We're like, none of us here on this show, I don't think, are new to the table about all of this. Kind of what kills me is all of this has become mainstream. And then you just get total bullshit, right? So everybody's jumping on the bandwagon. I think it's distraction from what else is going on. It's low-hanging fruit to ask that question because you know what answer you're going to get. And from his perspective, and honestly, from a lot of born-again Christians that I know, unfortunately, sorry, they want to say that it's demons. I don't think it's anything. I just think they're here watching us. Maybe they've manipulated things a little bit. I don't think they really care what we do or what happens. Right? So it's kind of like The Greatest American Hero, where in that show he lost the instruction booklet to the superhero costume and doesn't know what's going on. And I think somebody here dropped off this book and then the Schofield Bible and all these books and all these interpretations. I think Jay Wunsch kind of alluded to that perspective, how things change throughout time, and that's it. That's it. The greatest story ever told. And, there has to be something to it because every nation has a story, from the Vimanas and the Indians all way around. So is there something there? Yeah. For crying out loud, if it hasn't given us free energy by now, we shouldn't be holding our breath. Maybe they're just waiting for us to get it. It's ridiculous. It's kind of a joke. And like I said, tomorrow, whether it's God or aliens that show up tomorrow, before I shake their hand, I'm going to kick them in the shin and just tell them, what the hell are we tortured for? What are you guys doing? Just go back in your hole. Just go back if you're showing up now. I don't even want to see you guys. Just leave. That would be it. Anyway, I've rambled enough.
You were the best. I appreciate the call. Thank you. Thank you for your take. You as well. Have a good week. Be safe out there. Don't get smashed in the boards when you hit the hockey.
Well, actually, really quick, I did have a couple of sightings. I think I messaged you that. It's probably over a month ago now, where I was out back right in the evening at dusk, which you could see a lot of satellites here, but they were not satellites. 2 Mondays in a row. I did have some sightings. They were the orbs. One of them just flashed twice, moving quickly, disappeared. And then another one would flash, and then it would meander and it would appear somewhere else. Kind of reminded me of a fish that was just turning on the light overhead. And of course, I go in to get the phone and grab my daughter, come out and look at it with me, and, you stop seeing it. But yeah, anyway, whatever. Didn't freak me out. I didn't get butt probed. I just was out back lifting weights in the dark at night with the solar light. All right. Have a good night, guys.
Appreciate appreciate the account there. And I'm with you on the point in my life. I'm old enough where nothing freaks me out. If literally a portal opened up and the demons of hell came out, I'd be like, I guess this is how I go down. Just go down swinging.
That's exactly it.
Not even worried. Not even worried at any bit of this. Appreciate your time and energy. Thank you for the call, and thank you for sharing that experience. Because, like I said, people see stuff all the time that's weird, and we need to get it out there. You are the best.
If you wake up with the bruise around your butt, you've been probed.
There you go. As it has been said. Have a great night. Joe in Florida, good friend for a long time. You know him, you love him. And shout out Kelly, was the first guy that ever called this show years and years and years ago, and then called us back. And then Joe was the second guy. He's been literally a friend for 7.5 years or something. It's been forever that these guys have been around as part of the show. So thank you for just always your input, your amazing takes, and your levity. I mean, it's okay to laugh at this stuff too, to laugh at ourselves through these channels of ideas. James, anything to add? And we'll go to the Robert. Thanks for being patient, friends.
Yeah, no, great call. I do think that, as I always say, there's all, like I said earlier, there's all the spectrum of sort of how these encounters go and how people feel like they go as far as whether they're positive or not. And I do think so much of this is neutral, and or sometimes it can also be misunderstood, as well as the evil, bad situations being out there as well. Because again, if you look into all this enough, you'll find all those kinds of situations. I do think that using the word and saying that these politicians, anyone really, in power, saying yes, it's the demons, it's automatically divisive. It automatically causes sort of reactions one way or another, where it's going to get probably a large number of people saying yes, that seems just right, and other people that are going to be either afraid of that or just completely don't believe in any of that and just ignore it. And it's just going to be more and more divisive in its own way. And I wonder if that's intentional or not. I wouldn't be surprised if it is.
Yeah, same. And like I said, when you get professional liars saying things, it just makes my tinfoil tinkle no matter what they say. But then when it's something as provocative as aliens or demons, then we've got a whole new game to talk about, which is, well, welcome to Troubled Minds. We're talking, I'm calling this Disclosure's Demon Problem, the spiritual war behind UFO secrecy. And it started with that, again, Benny Johnson podcast where J.D. Vance he made the claim. I think, I haven't looked into it. I've got a long list of priorities. I do think aliens are demons, and he doubled down on it and said that it is on his list and he will get to the bottom of it. But just real quick, I want to point this out. And again, I know Stephen Greenstreet, not really a good faith actor in my opinion. He posted this that J.D. Vance said it in 2025. He's obsessed with UFOs, says he plans to get to the bottom of the mystery sightings. In March of 2026, he says almost the exact same thing, like it's some sort of political talking point. Like I said, and I shout out, buddy. I think you're a bad faith actor, but kind of holding the feet to the fire when people sort of repeat themselves and don't really change anything they do, I think is important. So, like I said, you can like or not like people, but the ideas certainly exist in the zeitgeist. We're talking this alien stuff. What do you know about it? 702. What's the damn number? 857-6939. Thanks for being patient, friends. Let's go to the Roberts. I feel like I'm going to get a tongue lashing here. Robert in Pennsylvania. What's up, brother? You're on Troubled Minds with Mike and James. Just unmute and go right ahead. Welcome to the thing. Cutting you a little bit short here. We got 8.5 minutes or so, but if you got more, you're welcome to stay after. Welcome.
I'll probably stay after because I really want to talk on this topic.
Sure.
But I want to preface it with I'm not going to tear into you. All right. It's just it just hit me the wrong way when you said we all agree that Vance and Benny are scum, and you can't say something like that.
Okay.
You're based, and you're entitled to your opinion. All right. If you think they're scum, that's perfectly fine. All right. But also saying that Vance is a liar. That's a very, very, a lot of politicians are liars, and he maybe have to some degree. But when people say stuff like that, I always ask them, name me one thing he lied about. Right? And they come up empty.
I've got one. You ready?
Oh, give me.
I got whatever he just said recently. So basically, he said, you heard the clips. I played the clips. He said that he believes that aliens are demons and they are in our skies and they are a problem. They are basically terrorizing people. Okay. But then he said he didn't have time to deal with it, but he will get to the bottom of it. So in my mind, if he truly believes that, he would have been doing something about it already. So I think,
he's not.
I think it's a lie. How
do you know he's not? You think he's going to tell you?
All right.
I mean, he did say he's going to visit Area 51. That's certainly a pointing in a direction of I'm going to get to the bottom of it. I disagree with him when he says they're demons.
Perfect. We disagree about a lot of things about what this man says, but that's not what this is about anyway. But look, your point is well taken, and I wasn't trying to be provocative that way. It's just it was my disgust leaking out in the microphone.
I understand, Michael.
Go ahead.
Most of the whole country is under severe pressure, the economy and everything, all the other BS that's been going on. And I don't blame you for a minute for just being, completely disgusted with our Washington politicians. I don't blame you at all. All right.
Thank you.
But the idea, remember, it's been testified before Congress that we don't really know what they are, right? So if we don't really know what they are, there's no business with Mr. Vance saying they're demons. And the only reason that he's saying that maybe is because of his deep religious beliefs. All right. In the history of the world, right, religion has been used to demonize the unknown. We used to burn women as witches. All right. I think it's unsettling for me that Vance would say that would make a statement almost flat out that they're demons.
I agree.
Hello?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm with you. Look, I agree. And this is what I mean, right? So the Collins elite used to be a 1950s thing. Redfern was the guy's name who put it in one of his books and kind of outed this cabal of people. But he's basically stepping forward as the face of this cabal, suggesting full well that these aliens are demons. And so the next implication is, because we're troubled minds and recognize what that means, is that there is a space there where if we continue to sort of tamper with it, we're inviting them in some capacity, right? Because we need to keep them away. It is, I don't know, back to the Collins elite, it's a sort of a censorship aspect or angle to the big P phenomenon. So look, I don't know. As usual, you know me, I don't know the answers here. I just go with my intuition and talk to you guys and try and figure these things out together. But I really don't know the answers, and I'd love to hear what you think they are.
Oh, I don't have them either. I don't think anybody does. I mean, if the government is saying that they don't know what they are, which is amazing to say, because that means that they're saying that we are very vulnerable because we don't know what they are. For a government to say that they're, weak in that regard is not very comforting.
Yeah, fair enough. Like I said,
that's a profound statement.
Yeah. Agreed. And like I said, without additional sort of clarification other than my faith says, I think we have a multitude of problems, pressing issues in the modern moment.
Sure we do. But if these were demons, all right, why would they shut down our nuclear facilities? That famous incident back in the 60s where they hovered over our nuclear missiles and disarmed them. Obviously, they don't want us to do nasty things to ourselves.
Let's hope so. I mean, I'm not sure I believe that, to be honest, and here's why. Only because there are differing opinions on whether that happened or not. People, eyewitnesses that were there, and then people that after the fact that said, no, it was kind of blown out of proportion. So I don't even know. And I think at this point, when we talk about these things, you have to kind of take these things as nebulous in the sense of we don't really know exactly what happened. And so I don't know. So I'll take your word for it as you're describing that's what happened. But what I'm saying is that there's contentious spaces all the way around. And could it be ops to change our minds about things? I think absolutely. You know me, I'm more than anything, I'm less a UFO guy than I am a propaganda guy. And so in that space, I recognize that if something miraculous did happen to that degree, there would be counter influence operations to kind of wipe that away. So that's where we're at. And so just so you know, I'm not locked into any one of those spaces. I just wonder what the hell the truth really is.
Well, I'll tell you something. I have a gut feeling the situation going on with Iran, this gradually blowing it up into all these nations, now coming down and coming into, to fight Iran, all these Middle East countries because Iran's attacking them or something. I personally believe that there's a lot of witnessing of that from these preachers or whatever they are, and that they intend to stop it before it gets too far. I think that we are just like religion has expressed that Christ, that God is the Father of all of us, and He looks after us and all that sort of stuff. I think that we are the garden, and that these, whatever these are that's been flying around our skies and landing and interacting with human beings for centuries and millennia, have been watching over us like a parent over children.
Yeah, well said. Well said. And I don't know if you're familiar with Rudolf Steiner, but he had a different take on this with going back to Zoroastrianism.
I read your whole report there.
Okay. So
your whole report there.
Okay, so we're just about out of time. A quick take on that, and then we'll get the rest of what you think about that when we get back. About 20 seconds if you got it, and then we'll take a break and get right back to you.
I just don't. For one thing, I don't personally believe that demons exist. And that's my statement. All right. I've never run across any. I'm sure that there's people who have thought they've seen them, but then I question their faculty. All right. If you believe it, I've said this to you before. If you believe in demons, you will see them. If you don't believe in them, you're not going to see them.
Fair enough. There you go. A declaration made. And that's okay. So hang tight. We're going to get back to you, talk about Ahriman and Rudolf Steiner and some of this other stuff. You're the best. Hang tight. More with Robert coming up, more with James and your calls as well. 702-857-6939. Is that correct? Yeah, 857-6939. Be right back. I'm muting you up, Robert. Stay right there. You don't have to mute. I'll unmute you when we come back. Yeah, more on the way. Look, I don't know. Answers few, questions many. We'll see you in just a few short moments. Be right back.
This is Troubled Minds. Your host, Michael Strange, the master of the mysterious, is here to guide you through the shadows of the unexplained.
Let's check the news. A Danish psychiatrist is sounding the alarm once again, this time about what he calls a cognitive debt accumulating among the world's top scientific minds. Writing in a leading psychiatric journal, he argues that AI is quietly eroding the reasoning and research abilities of scientists who rely on it, warning that even Nobel Prize-level breakthroughs depend on decades of hard-won mental discipline that AI may be quietly undermining. He points to the pioneers behind a landmark protein-folding AI as examples of scholars whose achievements were built on rigorous lifelong training that might never have developed had AI tools been available from childhood. A neuroscientist from a Mexican university and other researchers echo the concern, suggesting that cognitive offloading may be quietly weakening the mental muscles of an entire generation. On a stranger frontier of science, a decade-old frozen brain is offering new hope and new questions about the limits of cryopreservation. The preserved brain of aging researcher L. Stephen Coles, who died in 2014, has finally been examined by a cryobiology specialist, and the results are described as astonishingly well preserved despite being stored at nearly -295 degrees Fahrenheit. Coles, one of the first people to undergo brain-only cryopreservation, specifically wanted his tissue studied to determine whether the freezing process caused catastrophic structural damage. The findings are cautiously optimistic, though the tissue is not fully intact, and at least one outside expert was blunt, noting simply that the brain is not alive. And finally, a quieter but no less significant development in domestic surveillance. Mobile camera platforms known as camera-on-wheels units, sometimes called scarecrows, are rapidly expanding across American cities, deployed by police departments and security contractors alike. These solar-powered trailer units feature telescoping camera masts and can plug directly into law enforcement networks, delivering AI-powered facial recognition to virtually any public space. One major surveillance firm alone claims a network of over 150,000 cameras, and industry voices show no signs of slowing down. As one military surveillance CEO put it plainly, the market has spoken. Thanks for listening to the Troubled Minds Radio Network.
The market has spoken. The people with all the money have decided to pay these entities to surveil us because, well, the market has spoken. I could get GTFO. What's up, guys? Hope you're well tonight. But we'll get back to the Robert in just a moment here. And then, so just the order so you guys know, we got the Robert, then we got Herschel, then we got Daryl, I believe. I think Daryl clipped in late. We'll try and get you guys, all three of you guys, in the next segment, more from James. And then I think Derek hasn't said so, but he usually gets in line. Aim for him, bottom of the hour. If that's a problem, you guys let me know. And what? Look, I don't know. Answers few, questions many. That's the whole point. What's up, Karen? Welcome back. We got Herschel Matzel. Molly's here. What's up, David87? We got Chef Pete, Joe in Florida, Eric, Derek the Night Stalker, Eric and Derek. We got APOC and Dragon Rose Linda. How are you? Good evening. Who is that with the little TR3B thing? That is Outspoken Snowman. You keep changing your avatar. It freaks me out. Not because you shouldn't or couldn't or can't. It's because I don't recognize you. What's up, Race? Jen is here in the chat. I see you over on YouTube. Good evening, guys. We got, who is it? Dragon Rose, Joe in Florida. Appreciate all the great thoughts out there. Chef Pete, what's up? Ioxy, I see you. Good evening. Race always taking shots at me. Like I said, look, if you got a history taking shots at me as sort of a good faith joke machine like Race is, fine. That's good. That's good, right? Like, we're supposed to make fun of me, not everybody else here. Okay, that's the point. What's up, Jay Winch? Thanks for the call. We got Fred, Mr. Duffy. Thanks for all the great stuff in the chat as well. You guys are the best. Thanks again for hanging out. Derek the Night Stalker. If I missed anybody, you let me know. What's up, Gordo? We got Puff. We got Longshanks over there on Rumble. Good evening, guys. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for being locked into the conversation. North Vixen is here. What's up, Astro Sweat? Thanks again for the gifted donations there. What's up, Puff? I see you. Hello, Hiker. Okay, here we go. If I missed anybody, just tell me I missed you, and I'll say hi as we go. Here we go. Troubled Minds coming up now. We got more from the Robert, and then we got Herschel, and then we got Daryl after that. Here we go. Troubled Minds happening right about now. Welcome back to Troubled Minds. We're streaming in all the places you would expect, the YouTube, Yada, Rumble, blah, blah, blah. TroubledMinds.org, that's the website. You can find all the things there. The number to call tonight is 702-857-6939. What we're talking about is, I'm calling this disclosure's demon problem. If you've been paying any amount of attention, recently J.D. Vance went on the Benny Johnson podcast and was talking about, he said it emphatically, straight up, aliens, I believe, are demons. Cool, man. I mean, this was something reserved from like the, Nick Redfern 1950s aspect of the Collins elite. But now in this moment, suddenly the Collins elite has stepped out of the shadows in the face of the Vice President of the United States. Now, what does all this mean? As usual, look, it's complicated. I recognize that. I'm, like I said, my frustrations are leaking out, and I'm sorry about that, about just the political space and the geopolitical space. And not to mention, I drive for a living and pay my own gas. So you see, like, the frustrations for me are a little more pronounced. Anyway, a little more closer to home. Whatever. Look, all that stuff aside, this stuff is important, right? Because if aliens are demons and they're here in our skies and they're abducting people or whatever the hell is actually going on out there, shouldn't it be a top priority? That becomes the question tonight. We're going to get to Ahriman and Rudolf Steiner. And look, if we can't fit that in tonight, I find it appropriate to do a part 2 of this because that whole thread is incredible. Please read the write-up if you have not. It is very good. 702-857-6939. Click the Discord link at troubledminds.org. Back to the Robert. Thanks for being patient, my man. You are back. We were talking about Ahriman and Rudolf Steiner and that whole aspect to it. And you said emphatically, demons, I don't believe in demons. Welcome. Take it anywhere you like from there, and thanks for being patient.
I thought you had me muted there.
I did till now.
I can't remember the person in the chat over at
Rumble.
But I agree with what I just read something he wrote, and I agree 100% with him. If we're going to look for demons, all we have to do is look at the ones that are been stirring up these wars for centuries. They're the demons.
Okay, and I can't say I disagree. Absolutely
right. They're evil. You can see them on TV, on CNN and stuff, doing their little rah rah rah, and you can tell anybody with any instincts about human nature can tell these people are evil, and if they're evil, that's the definition of demons.
Fair enough. I think we need to bring back the idea of smell-o-vision. That way, if we turn on C-SPAN and we smell sulfur, we know what's actually going on. let's get back to something like that. Anyway, go ahead.
Anyway, I think that it's scaring me a little bit. When Van says that they're demons, it's indicative of the mindset that's growing and growing and growing globally. And it's certainly festering in the United States, where you take politics and you mix it with religion. and you've got a disaster on your hands if you don't if that isn't reined in.
Yeah, it is. Somebody said this recently on X as well. I can't remember who it was. I'm just filtering through a ton of information, trying to synthesize all of it. But somebody said something very similar, that wars are stupid, and they said religion is stupid. Relax on that part. I don't entirely agree. But super stupid is wars based on religion, and that part I do agree. I mean, wars. It's like we're amplifying them based on belief systems, and we're like, well, we could probably get this done with a minimal loss of life, but they're heathens, so let's kill a bunch more. It's horrible.
As the soldiers are starting to complain, troops, that these generals are telling them that this is a religious war, and they're going to bring on the end times of Revelations, Armageddon. I mean, when you have generals talking like that, all right, speaking on a religious platform, you've got some real trouble coming down the pike.
Yeah, and not to go full geopolitics here, but that was one of the big criticisms of the mullahs in Iran, was that they were sort of a fundamentalist, by the book doctrine, eschatology. Let's usher it in type of regime. And if our generals are saying similar stuff, it's like, wait, it's like the Spider-Man meme pointing at each other. It's like, what the hell's going on here?
Yeah, I've already said what I felt about that they're not demons, and it's time for me to get off, and bow to Daryl. I can't wait to hear what she has to say.
Okay, you were the best. I appreciate you very much. Thanks for being patient. Thanks for waiting through the break. Thanks for the ideas. Thanks for not coming at me too hard for my frustrated political take, and thank you for
we all love you.
I appreciate it, brother. We love you too. Back at you. Have a great night. Thanks for the call, and we'll talk to you soon. You know him, you love him. The Robert in Pennsylvania. Go give him a follow. troubledminds.org/friends. Scroll down. It's very simple. Click the friends link, and it's under The Roberts. Again, affectionately his mentor name and his writer name, The Robert. Go check out his book. It's on Amazon. You can buy it tonight, probably get it tomorrow. Any full disclosure, he sent me a couple copies. I did read it. He doesn't pay me to say it's good. It just is good. Go check it out. We're talking aliens and demons. And look, I knew this was going to be a hot one because everybody's got a take on this. And we seem to have more measured takes than the rest of the realm, in my opinion. I'm biased, of course, because I think you guys are incredible. I think the ideas that flow through the show are incredible. But once again, what do I know, right? Everybody else is talking politics and all kinds of other stuff. So whatever. I mean, let them do their thing. We'll do our thing. Love to hear what you think. Hang tight, Daryl. You are not next. Actually, it is Herschel, 702-857-6939. Click the Discord link at troubledminds.org, and then we'll go to Daryl after Herschel. Herschel Sterling. What's up, brother? You're on Troubled Minds. Just unmute. And how you doing tonight? Go right ahead, sir. Testes 1, 2. Just unmute, and you should be good to go.
Okay, there we go.
Gotcha, buddy.
All right. Well, we got to vote for J.D. Vance because he says he's going to get to the bottom of it, and I just really want to get to the bottom of it. So I'm going to vote for him.
Okay. All right. That's actually an interesting thread, real quick, right off the bat. An interesting thread that we're coming into the midterm aspect of a lame duck administration. And so interesting. That's an interesting angle, but that's for another podcast. But go ahead, sir. What you got?
What a doofus. So, just how embarrassing these people are, seriously. So, I think that there's definitely like a spiritual warfare thing. And I don't know about like the alien or demon. It could be a combination of things, but there's probably alliances, there's probably entities out there that want to protect us and are aligned with us, and consciousness, the type of consciousness we have. And there's probably those who would seek to exploit our planet or use us as experiments or something. I think it's like, so you could say demons and angels if you want, or whatever, or, so it's kind of like if there's a whole, range of species out in space, there's probably some who like are on our team, so to speak. You know, some who are aligned with us in some kind of a galactic or universal kind of like, situation. You know what I'm saying? The one thing, like I kind of like dovetailing into from the last show where you talked about the kingdom of heaven being in a location, and in the write-up, you talked about, it talks about like it, and it, like the universe is an expulsion from that. So if that's the case, then we have elements of that within us. And so the kingdom of heaven is within, so to speak. You know, so there could be beings that see us as who want to protect that aspect of us and help us get in touch with that aspect of ourselves. And then there's could be beings that want us to be in touch with the other aspects of ourselves. You know, and so it's like that battle going back and forth, like kind of a thing. You know, in simple terms. I really liked that last show. That was very interesting, and the write-up was great. I didn't read this one yet. I want to hear more about the Rudolf Steiner thing, because, you know, I do think there's what you implied that, or you kind of touched on the idea that some of the religions are going to be the ones ushering in this, you know, welcoming these quote unquote demons. And you always have to use discernment because there's such a range of behaviors when it comes to these religions. Like sometimes people say, you know, if you really were an enemy of humanity and you really wanted to depopulate the earth and you really wanted to be angry at God, what would you do? Would you start like a devil church? Would you start like a temple of Seth or a satanic church? Or would you start a church, a Christian church, so you could raise your own sheep to slaughter them? What would be the most effective thing to do? You know, and so when you look at the behavior of some of these religions and the different sects within the religions and how they don't agree with each other, you got to wonder if some of that might be going on. I think that when Peter Thiel and those people, put out their central currency that they can shut on and shut off anytime they want, and they call it like the mark of the beast and all that. I think the evangelical churches are going to be the first ones. They're going to be setting up the first stations where you go get your stamp. I think they're going to be the ones who usher it in. That's my opinion. So I'm really looking forward to what you have to say about what Rudolf Steiner was talking about, because I didn't read that and I'm going to read it. But
it's very good. I can give you the 20-second version if you want to comment on it. So basically, Ahriman, 3,000 years BC, was a Zoroastrian entity. Like, think Cthulhu, think the seven deadly sins as an entity. Okay. Christ, in sort of that middle space, is the center. Like, it's a more of a Christ consciousness aspect, not Christ as an entity, as a person, as the Son of God. And then 3,000 years, Lucifer was the original. Christ was the center, and 3,000 years after is Ahriman, which is that primordial darkness. So Lucifer is trying to get us to be too spiritual, to draw us into spaces that are dangerous. Christ, of course, is the center, and then we have Ahriman in the modern space of the seven deadly sins. So I got that mixed up. So it was Lucifer, then Christ, and this is chronologically, and then Ahriman in the modern sense. And of course, that fits into all the things we talk about, which are gluttony, it is greed, it is all literally the seven deadly sins embodied into one entity as a name. So that's what he's talking about, and how you can think that you're being spiritual, but you're actually not. You're falling into the space of exactly where they want you to be.
Right. And I get it. I get that concept. That makes a lot of sense to me. It kind of falls in line with what I said about like churches kind of posing as spiritual places when really they're ushering you into a physical space, a kinetic space of extreme danger. Kind of like what we're seeing happening in the Middle East. Like, it's like they're trying to pretend that that's about God, and like it's clearly not. Like, it's clearly not what, like the Jesus part of it is, he's the son of man. Like, he's not the son of the Anunnaki. He's not the son of the Greys. He's the son of man. He's the same DNA as us, flesh and blood. Like, so maybe that thing that Christ has allies and enemies that each visit here and are engaged in a spiritual and a battle in the unseen realms. When I know that, like, when I meditate, before I meditate, I always do a prayer of gratitude and ask for protection. Because when I meditate, I don't want things coming into my space that are harmful. So I seek protection and discernment first. And I express gratefulness for life and for consciousness. And then I open myself up to things that are, maybe could potentially, give me some knowledge or give me some understanding and discernment. You know what I mean? I do it that in that order. You know what I'm saying? But I love that thing of the kingdom of heaven being at the edge of the universe, and the creation of the universe, the Big Bang, was an expulsion. And so that means if we're refractions of all of that, that means that part of that kingdom of heaven is within us. And so we make choices. We choose, we make a decision. And I don't think that a God that is benevolent would want to be a dictator. I think he'd want us to choose. I think he'd want us to make a decision, about how we're going to be. Like, how are you going to behave? It's your decision. It's not my decision. It's your decision. You ask and it's given. You knock and the door is open, but you got to make the initial thing. You got to make the initial decision, kind of thing. And so then that could reflect, or that could affect, which of these influences in the spiritual realm are going to affect us. So in a way, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I follow you 100%. And again, I love your takes on this, because we are very similar. I think our hearts are very similar, but our takes are very different. But we're looking in the same direction. It's good. This is good. I learned so much from you, and these ideas are incredible. And that's once again why regular people need to talk to each other about these extraordinary ideas. I think continue the inspiration. That's what it's all about. Go ahead.
The people who don't like us do not want us talking. So that we have to do all the things they don't like. And so talking and continuing to talk and express these things are definitely things that we have to do, like, because they don't want us to. So we have to keep doing it.
Amen. Absolutely, 100%. As you know, we got Daryl behind you. Final thought. I appreciate you very much, and thanks for the great takes.
It's great conversations tonight. Excellent takes from everybody, and thanks everybody. And I can't wait to hear more about this Rudolf Steiner stuff.
You got it. We may do part 2. You good for a part 2 on this?
Yeah, if there's enough, yeah, for sure. Why not?
There's totally we haven't touched any of it yet. So absolutely. You're the best. Appreciate you very much.
I mean, I'm down to clown.
Right on. Thanks a lot. Herschel Sterling, you know him, you love him, good friend for a long time. Commercial Herschel is the Substack. Please check him out. troubledminds.org/friends. Scroll down. He's got the sexiest link tree in the game. Just click Herschel. It'll pull up his sexy link tree right there, and you can find all of the things he's working on, doing amazing podcasts, writing amazing Substacks, thinking amazing ideas. That's the point. I'm so glad we met Herschel as the collective here. And like I said, he teaches me something every single time, and I appreciate it very much. Tonight we're talking, look, we're going deep. We're going Disclosure's Demon Problem, the spiritual war behind UFO secrecy. J.D. Vance said, I think they're demons. Cool, man. That's cool. Like, what's the plan? I mean, if demons are scooping people up and, anally probing them, and I say that only halfway tongue in cheek, then, and by the way, too, that's such a 1960s pejorative for, contact. So my apologies. I didn't mean to be, disrespectful to experiencers there, but you get what I mean. It's like, so if that's happening in any degree whatsoever, Betty and Barney Hill more directly have said through their regressions that they were experimented on without the anal probing. You get it? So that's the stupid pejorative part of it. But my apologies on the bad joke, but you see what I'm saying? If this is actually happening, then why are we not prioritizing this? I don't know. Anyway, 702-857-6939. Sorry for the bad joke. Daryl in New York, thanks for being patient. You're on Troubled Minds. How are you? And go right ahead.
Yeah, hi, Mike. Leave those bad jokes to me, okay?
Okay, you got it. I'm waiting for him. What's your take? Go ahead.
I love this conversation. Meanwhile, I just have to say a few things first. What kind of demons are like Tic Tac looking, or, you know, light bulbs that look, you know, are moving at amazing speeds, or orbs? What kind of what kind of demons are those? Who I don't know. Don't they have to have like pointy ears and are red with a pitchfork? I don't know. That doesn't resemble a demon to me. Like, that perspective, I don't get whatsoever, that he could like try to pull that one off on us. You know, do they look like a demon? Hello? I don't know. Nothing resembles a demon more than, you know, something that's white, maybe more like an angel. Like, and what is the opposite of a demon? It's an angel?
I guess it would be.
In the middle of... Go ahead.
No, I guess it would be. Please, headphones.
So
I can hear me back through you, and that's not good. So I'll shut up. Go ahead.
Okay, so, you know, are we in the middle of a demon and an angel? And I'm thinking, you know, God's not perfect. Why did he make us so imperfect if he's supposed to be perfect? And why does he give us so much chance to screw things up? Anyway, I'm just saying. And also, what does Vance want to do in Area 51? Is he going to go with an army of exorcists? If that's the way he thinks? You know, does he need a lot of priests to exorcise these demons from their spaceships or something, you know? I don't know. That's kind of nonsense, you know. What kind of, you know, this is not a good way to go about it, because if he's going to approach, you know, a way to battle demons, what are we dealing with, you know? Who are we trusting with it, with our, you know? But the other thing, I just decided to look, how many people in the world believe in some sort of religion? And you know what? I was surprised, but I'm not surprised. This is about the people that we can count. That doesn't count the people we can't count, but apparently there's been a decrease in the number of Christians between 2010, let's say, and 2020. There's been no decrease in the number of Muslims. The number of religious that are unaffiliated, there's been a growth. That's the only growth you could anticipate. So people that have no religion are getting larger. I just found that interesting. You know, and the other smaller religions that are much smaller, Hindus, Buddhists, Jews, and other religions, have had no change whatsoever. And no majority, which I don't know what no majority is has grown 1%. Okay, whatever. Those are the statistics of people that believe in some sort of religion. With that said, you know, is this some way to tell the world, you know, the people that believe in some sort of religion, that would scare them? This is a great way to scare people. Rather than say they're aliens, they're demons. That would frighten the majority of the people on the planet. You know what I'm saying? And I'm thinking before there was religion, and I'm assuming there was before a religion, I don't know what people believed in. They believed in the sun, the moon, astronauts, aliens. I'm not sure. When did religion start to kind of deflect that kind of belief in the aliens, the God, the sun, the moon, the stars? You know, there must have been, you know, the seasons to plant, etc. How did that start to be a control mechanism? I'm just pondering this. I'm not, you know, right or wrong, but just thinking about that. I think that's all I had to say. But I think that's good enough, except for my silly other things to say.
Let's hear it.
Hello?
Let's hear it. Go ahead.
Let's hear it. Go ahead. Oh, all right. I just wanted to know. Do you know what do you do when your ogre gets possessed by a demon?
Not sure.
You have to call a Shrexorcist. All right. And this one is for you. Which demon is the average YouTuber the most afraid of?
It's a good question.
Demonetization.
Absolutely.
Okay, that's it.
You're the best.
That's it.
Appreciate your prayers, Daryl. I'm going to drop you down because you're. Please next time you got to have us on headphones because I'm hearing myself back through your speakers. So please get that figured out because it's difficult for me to talk to you. So I just have to let you go, which is good because you're fantastic and on point and all the stuff, brilliant and funny and all the things. I appreciate you very much. Thanks for the call. And that's look. This is the point. We talk to each other for this exact reason. There's a lot of ways to look at these ideas, and let's do this together. We're talking, again, go give Daryl a follow, troubledminds.org/friends. Scroll down, it's alphabetical. Follow Daryl. She's not talented, not just sings in English and French. She's got some paranormal stuff on her channel. Check the YouTube channel, troubledminds.org. Scroll down, follow Daryl. Please do that. Tonight we're talking aliens. We're talking demons. We're talking how the government is intervening between the two or combining them. Be right back. More Troubled Minds on the way. We got more from James, Derek the Night Stalker. We got Jen and your calls as well. Don't go anywhere.
This is Troubled Minds. Your host, Michael Strange, the master of the mysterious, is here to guide you through the shadows of the unexplained.
Let's check the news. A seismic shift in the artificial intelligence industry this week, as OpenAI has quietly shut down its text-to-video application, just 5 months after its highly publicized launch. Downloads had been plummeting, operating costs were described as enormous, and the platform drew repeated criticism for copyright-infringing content. The collapse of the service has pulled a major partner down with it. Disney has now exited a reported $1 billion licensing deal that would have allowed users to generate AI video featuring characters from Marvel, Star Wars, and Pixar. A Disney spokesperson framed the departure diplomatically, though observers note the timing leaves little room for interpretation. Turning to space, NASA is preparing to launch the Artemis II mission in the coming days, sending 4 astronauts on a journey around the moon for the first time in over 50 years. Beyond the historic symbolism, the mission is deeply strategic. The moon's poles hold significant deposits of water ice, rare earth elements, iron, and titanium, resources critical to any long-term human presence in space. China has stated its intention to land humans on the lunar surface by 2030, and analysts say the race for the most resource-rich lunar territory is very much underway. The United Nations Outer Space Treaty prohibits nations from owning the moon outright, but questions about who controls what's on it remain legally unresolved. And on a related front, astronomers are sounding alarms over 2 proposals currently before the Federal Communications Commission that could fundamentally alter the night sky. SpaceX has proposed launching 1 million orbital data centers into space, while a California startup is seeking approval for 50,000 large reflective mirrors, each roughly 55 meters wide, designed to beam sunlight onto ground-based solar installations. The Royal Astronomical Society, the oldest astronomical body in the world, has filed formal objections, with Deputy Executive Director Robert Massey calling the prospect, quote, the destruction of a central part of human heritage. If approved, scientists warn the brightness generated could rival that of a full moon, every night, indefinitely. Thanks for listening to the Troubled Minds Radio Network.
Hell yeah. What's up, guys? Hope everybody's well tonight. Let me read this real quick. I see in the chat. We're going to go to, when we get back, a little bit from James. We'll go to Derek, Jen, and Eric. It's good evening. I can't disclose my name because of my NDA. I tell you my story. I was a military contractor. This is an email. It just came through. Military contractor that was assigned to 2 deep underground military bases for security duty. The bases are funded by the non-government organizations via taxpayers. The Watchers and the Nephilims are in control of the whole bases and NGOs. When a civilization emerges, they make pacts and deals with the government. In our case, it was after the atomic bombs in Japan. From there, 2,200 DUMBs, deep underground military bases, of course, have been made, funded, and still operational in exchange. Technology, medical, and systemic government is provided. This has been going on for a long time, thousands of years. They have combined human DNA, animal, and plant to make exotic beings. and it's the demons that take possession of the bodies. Everything from Bigfoot to Dogman, they are the geotagged and a level of control. This ties directly into human trafficking, abortion, and the human DNA. The Tomb of Gilgamesh is the key to most of this. Appreciate the email. There you go. I told you I read it. I've read 80% of it. We're out of time. Here we go. Back to Troubled Minds. Thanks for the email. Thanks for listening. And here we go. Troubled Minds happening now. Welcome back to Troubled Minds. All the places, all the things. Troubledminds.org is where you find it. 702-857-6939 is the number to call. Disclosure's demon problem. The spiritual war behind UFO secrecy started tonight with J.D. Vance a couple days ago on the Benny Johnson show saying he believes aliens are demons, right? They're just demons. They're looking into it. They're going to disclose what they can or whatever, yada, yada. Again, we played the clips earlier. Links are in the description if you want to check it out. Shout out Jay Anderson of Project Unity, who actually clipped this, and from the Benny Johnson show. And then I'm going to read this too. So he says, J.D. Vance just said aliens are demons. This is from Jay. Calls UFO disclosure spiritual warfare. They're literally attempting to socially engineer a sci-fi biblical prophecy into reality. This is so crazy to witness when you're one of the people who saw it all lining up years beforehand. And I can't disagree with him either. I think there's a lot of things in play here and a lot of ways to look at this. But what do you believe? That becomes the question here. And what do you think is actually going on? Disclosure? Demons? Aliens? Somewhere in between? You tell me. 702-857-6939. Back to James. I'm sorry for you've been sitting there because we've had so many calls. Anything to add, James? And then we'll go to Derek and the rest of our fine friends.
No, not really. I think I kind of said what I need to say, and looking forward to the rest of the calls. Great calls all night, of course.
James, you're the man, the glue of the show, as you know. Always Johnny on the spot if it's a slow night, but if it's a quick night, James is like, cool, I'm just chilling. So okay, do give James a follow if I forget to mention salsidoparanormal.com, SALSIDO paranormal.com. Go check him out in all the places. Dear friend for a long time, the glue of the show, and basically he's got the biggest paranormal archive on the entire internet. If you're not listening to James, you're doing yourself a disservice. Let's do it. Let's go to 702-857-6939. Derek in Massachusetts, the Night Stalker. What's going on? Welcome to the thing. Thanks for being patient. You're on Troubled Minds. What is up with this, man? Like, does Disclosure have a demon problem? What's your take?
Yeah, right now it does for sure. I think in general it has a strangest problem that people having a tough time wrapping our heads around, myself included. First, just for the Vance thing, or are we wrapping at regular time? Should I try to be really quick to squeeze this all in?
We're going to go late. Actually, we're going to go late because there's so much here. So we'll go a little bit after to get everybody in. But yeah, so be brief, but don't be too brief.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So the idea that what Vance said, like, do I believe what Vance did? I don't trust him as far as I can punt him. Not just like you said, not even a little bit. Like, just the idea that you already mentioned the idea that he's obsessed with it, quote unquote, and he's itching to get at it, and but he hasn't yet because he has to balance the budget and all kind of stuff. Like, just think practically of what his day-to-day life is. I mean, notoriously, the vice president has maybe one of the easiest jobs in the country. Like, it's a handshake job. It's a nothing job. That's like the joke of it. That's like the Al Gore. It's Al Gore. It's like, you don't do anything as vice president. That's the whole point. If anybody has time to look into this stuff, it's this guy. And you tell just how much of his time is he like hitting a calculator to crunch the budget? He doesn't do that kind of stuff. Like, what are we really talking about? I mean, give it a glance. Like, it just another one of these carrots and sticks just to get people going. Like, every election, it's always like, oh, this guy's going to be the disclosure president, or like, oh, Kamal's going to be the disclosure president, or Biden, or Trump, or just like I don't know, all of them. I don't know. It just seems to be a carrot and stick. But
yeah, like he's positioning himself for the candidacy of the next exactly. GOP. Yeah, exactly. Like, oh well, if it doesn't come now, him knowing full well it's not about to, then wink, wink, I'll be the guy to do it. Yep.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, just big picture wise, it's kind of weird that he's the Peter Thiel guy, and like Peter Thiel is doing those like Joe was talking about, is doing like the Antichrist things over at the Vatican right now and stuff, and it's just weird that the tech elite that are building this new like techno god or whatever, this new extremely potentially dangerous invention that we're creating right now, are so demon haunted. That just seems to be like if Ultron took some stuff from Tony Stark, its creator, kind of the ego or whatever, if it takes this, if an AI like I'm not sure if it's scarier than an AI being a demon for an AI to be demon haunted, but it has like almost equally scary things, like some kind of weird Templar war led by AI. Or, I don't know. It's diabolical. But as far as like, do I think they're demons? Then it gets complicated. I gotta catch my breath, but any thoughts on that real quick? But
yeah, no, and that's the crux. That's exactly the point here is that, some people laugh at the idea of demons, but don't laugh at the idea of aliens, and then vice versa. I've talked to religious people that laugh at the idea of aliens entirely, and they're like, well, clearly, Mike, they're just demons. Like I've talked to both. I've talked to literally both people, but let's say not people, groups of people that will say one thing or the other and not believe. But now we're commingling them. We're mixing them in the idea space, which again is a verboten thing that goes back to the 1950s of Nick Redfern and the idea of the Collins elite. Now the Collins elite has stepped out from the shadows into the sunlight and said, yeah, I'm the vice president and I think this is the case. So what the hell is really going on?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, so basically the big question for this conversation is like, what do we mean when we say the word demons? Because if it's like, basically, are aliens extraterrestrials from outer space? Are they coming from another planet versus anything else? Then I absolutely lean towards the anything else category. I've leaned away from they're coming from space, that they're spacemen coming from space. If they are coming from space, they have some crazy technology that looks poltergeist-like and has poltergeist effects to it. And advanced technology is indistinguishable from magic and that kind of stuff. I understand that, but the evidence does not like size up to it being from space, other than they tell us that they're from space, and they do so during a seance and that type of stuff. But is it demons as like, I'm into like diagrams and maps and the metaphysical anthropology and trying to diagram it. I don't want to like X anything off of the weird list, but I kind of want to categorize it. When you say to me a demon, that's like specifically works for Satan in a hell realm. It's like if Willy Wonka has a Oompa Loompas, Satan has demons, but he's one of many, many, many potentially infinite dark entities, potentially infinite positive entities, potentially infinite neutral entities. So if we're talking about are aliens underlings of Satan that live in hell and occasionally pop up and appear as aliens, I don't believe that. I think it's possible, the same way I think coming from space is possible, but I don't think so. If they're saying like the Collins elite saying that they're just dark stuff that's potentially interdimensional, I feel like that's pretty reasonable. You can call that ultra terrestrial, you can call that whatever, but just if it's spacemen versus not spacemen, I'm not spacemen, but I don't think it's specifically like evil underlings of Satan. I think there's like a weirder thing called ultra terrestrials, big P phenomena or whatever, something that we haven't correctly categorized yet. Fae could be like everything talk about all the time. But I think that's an important question to kind of what are we talking about here? And right now, like it's definitely being brought up in a Satan sense, in a Tucker Carlson being like, I'm being attacked, I have scratch marks and that type of stuff. And we're like the country is very demon haunted. There is definitely a push towards like religion again, towards Christianity again in that direction, like wearing it as like a peacock feather and some kind of weird, like, I mean, that's on judgment, not just good or bad. There's like people are identifying with the demon haunted aspects of Christianity right now on social media and in general. And that, like, so I think that's interesting. There's some kind of push. Yeah, what do you think about that? Sorry, I'm rambling.
No, you're good. And I think you're right. And this goes back to, building an audience. It goes back to the manipulation strategy of basic game theory. I've said this, I don't know if I said this on the show, but I said this on a chat here or there. But basic game theory is when you declare for a team, when you say something like Christ is king, and I know some people are like, oh, that's anti-Semitic, Mike, whatever. Like, I'm not getting into that at all. But if you say something like that and you plant a flag and say, boom, I'm on this team, suddenly you have allies that are strangers all over the world. And so that's the type of stuff that's happening as part of this, right? And so, and I'm not suggesting it is or it isn't or whatever, but it is certainly easier to operate in a space where you have, 1 trillion people behind you. Or let's back that up. 1 billion people behind you because you've declared you're on their team. You see? So yeah. I think this is part of what's happening in the social media space of a lot of these influencers is they recognize that it gets a ton of engagement and it gets, and this is why. So let me ask the question too, as part of this.
Yeah.
If you are somebody that really doesn't believe at all and you're just saying these things to get engagement, to make money. Is that not the definition of a demon almost directly? Like using the name of Christ, let's say, for instance, to make money and not actually push the word of Jesus himself. You see, like there's like we got, I mean, this has been a thing for a long time, like these preachers and these mega churches and stuff, but now it's become this influencer internet thing. It's wild, man. This is the world we live in.
And it's a like, you're absolutely right. And it's a form of virtue signaling for certain people. Like it's people that, I don't know, like Kid Rock all of a sudden making this huge Christian swing. It's just like, are we forgetting? I mean, like that's not what he's about. I mean, it's just a way to completely, I mean, like you said, to kind of gain a new audience, but also to, in the political spectrum, to the world believes that the country is ran by a bunch of monsters from this Epstein list and all that kind of stuff, that like it's pretty convenient to all of a sudden be able to say just like, well, I believe in God and Christ is king and stuff, and all of a sudden to not have to do anything beyond that, to not have to like actually be virtuous at all, but to like it's absolutely virtue signaling. And I don't want to say that like don't find religion. I think it's beautiful. Everyone should find any religion. I love that. But just in this case, I think it's being used at the very least influencer-like, but more nefarious than that. And just zeitgeist wise, I think it's a regression. We've been talking about for years. I'm sick of the nuts and bolts. Give me the strangeness. Give me the weirdness. Give me these things are responding to rituals and stuff. And it's easy to say that they're demons as a catch-all, like meaning they're not from space. But the way it's being used right now feels more like a regression. Like, it just feels like it's more witch trial-y, backwards type of thing. Like they don't mean necessarily there's something complicated and strange going on. It means like, oh no, this is like super simple, like it used to be, And I think kind of both narratives are bad. To the demon disclosure thing, we're getting a Disclosure Day Steven Spielberg movie coming out in June, and it's a big deal. And so if we kind of look at Spielberg's trajectory with the UFO zeitgeist, he's done more than anybody in modern times to shape the perception of the aliens and UFOs and stuff. And before Close Encounters, especially, they were kind of like, I don't know, like spaceman gangster stuff. They were more like a threat. It's more War of the Worlds-y. They weren't necessarily strange in this case, but they were like as much. But they were, there's Invasion of the Body Snatchers. It gets strange, but for the most part, it's people in like shiny suits but they're bad. And then Close Encounters kind of changes the perception, being like, oh no, this is actually, it's a religious experience in its own right, and to be abducted by an alien, it is like meeting God, and it's amazing. And look how like shun your regular life and leave your kids and your wife to go meet the aliens. And the aliens are great, friends with the aliens. And then 5 years later, or 4 years later, however long it is, it comes out with ET, which is for kids now. And all of a sudden the kids, oh yeah, aliens are my best friend, like teddy bear alien, basically. Meanwhile, at the same time, he's ghost directing Poltergeist, which is all the witchy phenomena and stuff, which I think is now we're finding out is closely tied to the UFO phenomena too. And then it gets a little bit darker in the 2000s with War of the Worlds, but that's still just like reinforcing the thing that these are in machines that are coming from space and we're being invaded. But now, Disclosure Day, it was like before we got an official title, as being like talked about as Spielberg's quote unquote dark disclosure movie. So he always wanted to make a scary UFO alien movie, and he's finally doing it. And then if you look at the trailer, I'll just read the synopsis of it. Disclosure Day 2026, directed by Spielberg, is a sci-fi thriller exploring global panic and societal upheaval following undeniable proof of ET life. The film follows a newscaster, Emily Blunt, who displays signs of alien possession during a live broadcast amidst widespread phenomena, a whistleblower, and a conspiratorial cover-up. So the trailer is real just quick flashes and stuff. It doesn't give you a lot of plot, but you see her being possessed. It just said it in the synopsis. Speaking in tongues, basically. You have kind of the weird deer phenomena, which is like ties into like the owls are not what they seem. Kind of like it's a uncanniness, it's a strangeness that now we're going to be at the very least like moving away from just the ET stuff into like these things can possess you, which I think is if Spielberg is kind of this huge zeitgeist mover, the zeitgeist is about to be moving into the aliens can possess you. And we've been talking about invasion via possession for a while now. Yeah, sorry, good.
No, you're right. Like there's too much tonight to fit in, but I was going to talk about Bill Maher just did a segment, like a 10 or 15 minute segment on UFOs, saying that if you don't believe the aliens are here, maybe you're the conspiracy theorist. Was literally a quote that you said, right? It talked about all this, but then also the as you brought up very smartly, we've done the summer of saucers year after year after year on this show because it peaks because people are out watching the skies and seeing weird stuff, the meteors and the Starlinks and all this stuff, right? The ISS flowing over in a particular space, which right now, by the way, in Las Vegas, right now in this moment, if you go out and look up, you'll see the ISS doing a transit over Las Vegas right now. Like this is the type of stuff because people are out because the weather's nice and they're watching the sky and things get weird. And I mean, look, but this is a supercharged version of all of this because this is coming from the toppest of the government. This is coming from, as you said, the tastemaker of the zeitgeist, the UFO zeitgeist for our entire lifetime, Steven Spielberg. And then, of course, Rudolf Steiner, who we haven't even got to yet. But go ahead.
Exactly. I'll try to wrap it up. But yeah, exactly. And Rudolf Steiner also talks about Ahriman being kind of the lord of electricity and demons being like of electricity kind of. So I could explain kind of the ball lightning plasma aspect of it, but also we can tie it directly into AI. And just to wrap up the Spielberg thing, if you listen to him talk in interviews, he definitely makes it seem like he believes that they're from space. They're spacemen from space. The movie that's about to come out does not reflect that. I don't think his like actual beliefs, if you look at the content, really reflects that. And then his logo, his company, DreamWorks, is part of like Amblin Productions, which he owns. Their logo is called the Moonchild. And Moonchild is the Crowley stuff. I'm not going to get into all the Crowley lamp stuff because we talked about it before, but with the Moonchild, it's this vessel to summon a celestial power or whatever. It's I don't know. It's Crowley stuff. It's all that's Jack Parsons. It's the Moonchild, and that's the logo for DreamWorks, which is going to bring out this Dark Disclosure thing, which is going to include invasion via possession in some capacity. It's really all we know about the movie so far. And just again, I'm not going to get into all the occult stuff. We talked about it a ton before. We can bring it up on the Ahriman show when you do that if you want. But just look at the results and just like all of the things that I mean, we've all been crunching the pods, crunching the text for many years and stuff, and just the amount of people who have negative experiences, in my opinion, outweighs the good ones, and the good ones have weird connotation with them. And a lot of them is like the technology gifting, like they're credited for the post-Roswell narrative, if they're credited for our boost in technology, that has not served us well. Look at the results, whether they if they look like angelic Thor characters that are shiny and glowing and they're saying the right stuff, and that's what they would do. Like, you're not going to get results over a long period of time if you say, I'm the bad guy, look at me, I'm going to do bad stuff, look at all the bad stuff I'm doing. You want to I don't know, say you're doing good stuff at the very least, but look at the results. This technology is damning us. We're building a prison with this technology that they've given us. It's the internet, it's the brain rot stuff, it's all the AI negative stuff. They didn't really warn us about AI. I've been listening to Art Bell recently from 2015. There's all these channeling messages and everything. Like, they have no talk about AIs right around the corner. It's coming in 5 years.
They had no idea. We had no idea.
They didn't give us any warning for that. Yeah. Sorry, go ahead. Yeah.
No, we just had no idea. Like, it snuck up on us and suddenly was like, oh, this is a cute chatbot making some cute little poem.
They should be a little five years ahead.
Yeah, exactly. No, you're good. Yeah, I mean, that's the point. So we will do. So I think we're gonna, because we didn't get to Ahriman at all and Steiner, and this fits so well into this conversation. I think part 2 is due. So we'll do part 2 on Tuesday night. So just an FYI, I'll sort of rewrite the second part of this and then we'll continue. But final thought, we got to get these other people in. You're the best. I appreciate it. No, you're good.
That's it. I mean, just like I mean, there's a lot of evidence for bad abduction, bad experiences and stuff. And just like, they are positive ones and stuff, and there are kind of neutral ones, but like, I mean, if we're trying to discern, is this stuff good or bad? I mean, Cosby made The Cosby Show, which is maybe the best sitcom of all time, but he did a lot of bad stuff. And that's the first line in the paragraph now. So the first line of the paragraph should be, these things might not have our best interest in mind. They do dark stuff, and everything they're giving us is damning us in one way or another. But great show. Sorry for rambling. Just trying to be quick.
No, you're good. What are you talking about? Fire stuff. I appreciate you very much. On point as usual. You know me, love him, Derek the Night Stalker. Again, troubledminds.org/friends. Scroll down and just follow the Night Stalker. Just like that. It's under N, and it is STOCKER. He's calling us overnight, working from a grocery store. Like, literally, he's like I said, he's peeling out time from his work. Like I couldn't do that. Could you do that? See how important this is to him and these ideas and us together. So please help our friends. It's free. He's got a YouTube channel. Let's encourage him to make more content and get his ideas out there. TroubledMinds.org/friends. Scroll down, click the Night Stalker. Please go follow his YouTube channel. 702-857-6939. Did I get that right? Whatever. It's too late to take any more calls. Let's go to Jen in Missouri. Thanks for being patient, friends. You guys are amazing. Thanks for being locked into the ideas. Thanks for sharing the airspace with everybody else. Jen of Salcedo Paranormal as well. Welcome. You're on Troubled Minds. How are you? Go right ahead.
Hey, can you hear me okay?
Yep, loud and clear.
Okay, let me know if there's any kind of echo or anything, and we'll just hold it for another time. But so, I mean, first off, I don't think that this is quite like a physical creature coming from space. I think that there could be, that this is some type of a parasitic intelligence that is, ingrained in the inner core of the earth in some way, that they're coming from within the earth itself, that they were put here a long time ago. It's a type of intelligence, like the toxoplasmosis, basically, would be what I would think of as being like it's a parasitic sort of being, the demon idea. That, I mean, essentially, they had old beliefs that worms, in many different type of folklore cultures, they talked about worms and parasites and things like that. That was a type of demonic energy or intelligence, and it would display itself in its hosts. And you would see that with like exorcisms and things like that, and illnesses like bubonic plague. That was the display of the demon or whatever it was, because they couldn't live without a host. But the way that this would tie into it being aliens would be that they, for example, the Greys, as they're described as being from Zeta Reticuli, it could be that the intelligence behind these kind of cloned, maybe even grown in vats beings that the Greys are, they're a biological glove for these intelligence to inhabit as they operate in a realm that they can't actually exist in. And it's the same idea that they would try to be figuring out, look at the cattle mutilations that were talked about with Lear and with so many different ufologists. And they discussed that this was done with such precision, without carbonization, that it was some type of a laser, but it was technology we weren't familiar with. And I mentioned in the chat that we have that technology, and it's obsidian. Obsidian can do just that. And it's a lithic technology. And this would be something that would be known to an organism that's using volcanic glass. Would that be known to something from outer space? No, it'd be from something that knew of the secrets of this earth itself, that it understood the magnetisms of it at a very advanced level, and that basically the obsidian itself at a cellular level is harvesting this energy from the specific battery sources of the endocrine system in cattle and in humans. When people talk about that with the endocrine system, it's the obsidian itself, or these type of Neolithic tools, would be harvesting the energy and would be used as a type of, like when they talk about loosh. And these beings might be harvesting that, processing that. You could call it demonic and say that it's the jinn or it's this. And they were teaching things that could not be known to something from another world. These would be more of a dimensional type of being, but that they are able to take up on host in the physical world itself, that they are very much familiar with the mastery of the earth. They're not from somewhere else. They're pre-human, or they are right alongside, pre-flood. That's the concept that everybody floats around. But all of this is an interface. Religion would be an interface of sorts that these beings would be operating off of. And they would be based in the Sabians. The Sabians, these were star worshippers in the ancient world, and they were maybe not worshiping, but watching for signs of, these incoming, the whole focus of astrology and astronomy, to be watching for signs of their deployment. And, this would be something that would be happening and had been happening in a cyclical fashion. And that you'd see displays in humanity when these parasites would get within them, which would be a type of host demonic interaction as people would think about it. But the way that the aliens could be demonic as well, like I say, is that if they are creating a glove, basically to experience, existence as we do, which is quite a bit different than the way that they do. But I think it's something like that,
Yeah.
And that neural 5G and the whole, Neuralink and all of that is like a final phase of that. They have much use of like what would be considered it'd be lithic technology.
Yeah. And not even mentioning AI. Like there's so much here sort of coming together in this space that, like I said, if your tinfoil isn't tingling in 2026, I don't know what's going on with you. Like you should probably pay a little more attention. I know yours certainly is. And I'm just saying that like the reason it brought me here to do all of this and talk to you amazing people was my tinfoil was tingling years ago as this lead up to this moment. And it feels, like I go back to safe state theory. I did a whole show on this where it feels like we are in that temporal inflection point of humanity where this turns a good way for the best or a bad way for the worst. This becomes that Terminator future. And so, I mean, I don't know. What's more terrifying?
I don't know.
I don't know. It's demons?
Really bizarre.
What's more terrifying, demons or coming to take your soul and your mind, or robots kicking in the door and stomping your skull into the ground, right? Like what's more terrifying?
Right. Right. I mean, just briefly, I mean, even just the idea that, the way the society has been sort of cultivated all along to accept these ideas, there's all of these catch-alls for the hive mind. If you think about the hive mind idea and sort of entomology and the way that insects behave and the way that the study of it is so similar, and there have been many different scientists who have noticed this correspondence, but when they create things like Satanism or Christianity or anything like that, these are different cells of the same hive. Dissentership is caught by Satanism. That catches that. Problem solved. Everyone stays in the same sort of congruence. The knowledge that you're being processed, or that there's some sort of harvest of your energy, that of something else that is vicariously living either through you or is trying to collect that for some purpose, is what's really coming along with it. And it's existing aside mankind, the same way that barnacles cling to a whale. It's like that, is what it looks like almost. But I don't know. But who knows? I mean, that's what even at the forensic level, though, with those cattle mutilations, I thought that was so mind-blowing that, they didn't think that there was a technology for that, but we've had that technology the whole time. They still use that today for eye surgeries. It's obsidian, and it's a type of volcanic glass. It's even in the folklore as being like in Game of Thrones and everything used against it's crazy, but they still use that. It's it's sharper than a steel scalpel. So it's a very advanced, it's lithic,
The Song of Ice and Fire, as they say. And the Song of Fire is obsidian. That's exactly right. Coming from the volcanic aspect. Yeah.
It's just really neat and great show, Mike.
And great.
Good night.
Appreciate you very much. Thanks for being patient with us to get in here, and always a pleasure. You love her. That's Jen in Missouri, the Arcane Observer. Please go give her a follow. Not just a member of Salcedo Paranormal on the weekends as the co-host there, but also she's got her own channel. It's super simple. Please help our friends, troubledminds.org. Click the friends link or /friends on Troubled Minds. Scroll down, says follow Jennifer here. Click that. Go check out her YouTube channel. And that's the point. Like the point is we have different, slightly varying opinions about all the things. And this is the marketplace of ideas. We're weird, but we're also not insane. You get it? That's the point. That's the point of all of this. James, anything to add? And we'll go to Eric and then we'll wrap this up.
Well, just with all this, my thoughts when it comes to so many of these labels and names and what is this or what is that is it's amazing how often I find accounts of people describing the same thing and giving it different names, or describing different things and giving it the same name. And to me, that just makes me realize I don't know what any of this is. And so when anyone in politics or government or corporations or military or whatever, media, says one thing is one thing, for sure, I don't really believe them. And that's just how I feel about all these anomalous things.
Amen. Yeah, like I said, I shared the meme recently and said this on social media as well. I used to believe in aliens, but now the government says they're real, and so I have to reconsider. Welcome to it. You're the best, James. SalcedoParanormal.com. Go give him a follow. TroubledMinds.org is where we're at. 702-857-6939 is the number. Eric in Ohio. What's up, brother? You're on Troubled Minds. How are you tonight? What's going on with this? There's a ton here. We didn't get to Rudolf Steiner barely. We didn't get to Ahriman and the Zoroastrianism. We'll do that on Tuesday because I think it's an important part of this. But welcome to the joint. How you feeling? And go right ahead, sir.
Well, I'm feeling good. Thank you.
Glad to have you. You sound fantastic. You sound like you're feeling good. You sound like you got a glow up. Go ahead, sir.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. No, so yeah, I suppose if you consider angels and demons and aliens to be all synonymous with the same thing, maybe call them demiurges, if you will. These things are very much been with us for a really long time, right? Like I know I've talked about the Tully Scroll on James' show, which is like considered to be the first UFO sighting, an ancient Egyptian scroll. And then we moved up it from the 15th century into the 17th century, talking about Nuremberg and some other things with orbs and sightings. So, I mean, these types of sightings and contacts have been with us as nomenclature has changed. You know, before there was such a thing as the idea of outer space or other planets, we were still having these same encounters. And before the word demon existed, we were still talking about the same entities. You know, even in modern times, the Catholic religion keeps track of who's in charge of hell. It used to be Mephistopheles, and then when the Cold War hit, it became Asmodeus, and there's been a change since then. So they kind of keep track of that in the modern Christian sense. But if you take the word demon and you look at the etymology of it, its root is in the ancient Greek word daemon. And daemons at that time were entities that divided up the lots of people's luck and what they deserved in their lifetime, and oftentimes advised them on what to do and what not to do. And they were considered to be like intermediaries between the celestial workings of things and the terrestrial plane. And they were also known as the knowing ones. And Socrates was really famous for telling people that he had a daemon that advised him and basically showed him what logic was and what philosophy was. And when he was taken up by the authorities, that was one of the crimes he was accused of, was talking to this daemon entity and knowing things that people shouldn't know. And then I think the other charge was corrupting the youth. And of course,
corrupting the youth of Athens.
Right. The real charge of political issue is there's corrupting the youth, getting too many followers. And eventually,
exactly.
He tricked Hemlock to kill himself.
Which is why he's a hero of mine, just real quick. Hey, if you get charged and put to death for corrupting the youth of your city, congratulations. You're a hero of mine forever. yeah, absolutely. And the daemon stuff too is fascinating as hell, because it's not, so the etymology as you're describing is it's neutral way back then, but now it's sort of been corrupted in terms of negative entities. I'm stealing your thunder. Go ahead.
Yeah, no. Over 2,000 years ago, it was a little bit of a different thing. What a demon was considered. In fact, the word daemon is based on a word that's called deisthe, which means to divide or to distribute. Which is why these intermediaries were advising people, because if you took advice from them, you were sort of following your destiny, and whatever happened. You know, he's hoping it was good. But at some point, when the Romans arose, and they were some of the first people that had roads that linked the Hellenistic world with the Arabic world. And when Vespasian came in on the second siege of Jerusalem and exiled all of the Hebrews, the Jewish people, which is called the Great Jewish Diaspora, which is where there's more people living outside of the Holy Land in Rome than there was in the Holy Land, because it was being corrupted by the Romans at the time. And when they met up with their monotheistic religion and was interpreting the Hellenistic ways, they were writing in the Talmud, they started calling the daemons shed or shedai, which either means foreign god or foreign idol or hairy, unclean spirit, depending upon which words you're talking about, right? The Ashiadim was foreign gods or idols, and the Shiharim was hairy wilderness spirits. So all of those daemons that had neutral dispositions or varying dispositions became all malevolent at that point with the Jewish religion, which is really what a monotheistic religion is going to do to interpret. I mean, imagine how weird that is, right? You're like the only person who's convinced that there's one deity controlling everything, and everywhere else you go in your time, everyone's like, what are you, crazy? Like, we got all of deities have jobs, and there's a bunch of them, and we have, so the way they're going to interpret this is going to be in a probably negative way, right? And then, of course, by the time the Bible was translated to the Old English, the word demon was frequently changed into devil or hell knight, which basically carries a apocalyptic Western tradition that you find in a lot of Western religions from Europe to Arabic, as opposed to Asian religions, which are oftentimes cyclic, right? You can be reincarnated and have chances over doing things, where in the Western tradition is typically like, no, man, there's going to be this giant battle and everyone's going to pay and everything's going to be wiped clean and we're going to start over again. It happens frequently in the religions. And there's a lot of this sort of intermediaries between the celestial world and the terrestrial world in a lot of different cultures. Like in Mesopotamia, there's Pazuzu, which is associated with plague and drought and famine and really bad things most of the time, but he's also the deity that protects against the demoness Lamashu, which preyed upon pregnant women and infants, and later that gave rise to the idea of Lilith when the first exodus from Babylon occurred, and Lilith became why people say lullabies, so that kids don't die by SIDS and stuff. It's kind of a way of explaining how that worked, but that legend goes all the way back into that Mesopotamian area. And so, but you still have this intermediary that's Pazuzu, who is there to protect people from these other celestial beings. There's also a lion dwarf spirit called Bes that's referenced in the Book of the Dead that you have to confront in the Duat, which is the Egyptian heaven. That's one of the things you got to get past. There's like a bunch of gates and people who hold keys and people who will knife you on the side, and a bunch of deities that will kill you if you step off paths and all this kind of thing. And Bes is one of those deities. And then there's the jinn. In the Arabic traditions, there's a bunch of different kinds of jinn, different classes. There's the Muslim and a couple name I can't even pronounce. That's Qaasitoon. Both are which are in the Quran, and they have different things that they do. Like they're believers or followers of the righteous religion. And one is rebellious. Some are wicked. And then, of course, going into the Vedic tradition, there's Rakastas and Asuras. Asuras was originally a class of beings defined by their opposition to the deities, and they were considered to be power seeking because they were able to manifest upon the earth. These are all equivalent to the Nephilim in some situations. And there's the 72 demons of King Solomon, which all had ranks. And there was like presidents and kings and earls and dukes and the 72 demons. And essentially their main function was to be summoned, and they would provide architectural and mathematics to build the Temple of Solomon. So, demons for a really long time have played different parts in different times, different parts of the world, but in every case, overall, they've been intermediaries between the celestial realms and humans, people that know things or that can give you insight that you shouldn't possess otherwise. Only in the apocalyptic Western religious tradition do they oftentimes spell disaster or something terrible. So, one of the that's the thing about the aliens, right? They're always described as having different reasons for being here, having different dispositions, having different motivations for the potential of what they're doing, right? If you consider all of the species that are in the fossil record, there's like 98% of everything that's existed on the planet has already died off, is in the fossil record. Like, for instance, dinosaurs, right? It could just be that on other planets that this has stopped a long time ago. They only have one or two species in terms of diversity. So maybe they come here to explore diversity because of all the way things are set up with the moon and all of this, right? Or it could be a collective manifestation of the collective psyche of a civilization going from the egalitarian hunting-gathering animist tradition into the civilized divided specialty position where you have these group manifestations that you literally give power and performance to that echoes nature, right? So there's that possibility too, but whatever it is, whatever you want to label it, it's been with us since before we've been able to write.
And so here we are describing aliens as demons in a propaganda sense, because what you just said, what we've been saying all night, is hugely, highly complicated, diverse and deep, and goes back thousands of years. And it's just easier to be like, they're demons, like that, which is my entire point of the show, to talk about this and hear what your guys' thoughts were on this. And look, I know I'm not even saying, once again, like, me, like sometimes I make a declarative statement, sometimes I don't, sometimes I defer, but that's the point, right? I'm the milquetoast fence sitter, but I think there's a ton of information here that's important for us to recognize that has been happening forever. And us not seeing it in 2026 and then just having some like ridiculous news cycle of some knucklehead saying some ridiculous things, boiling it down to a moment doesn't change anything. It's on us to recognize that a lot of these things go back so deeply and so far, not just in our epigenetics, in our storytelling aspect of the oral tradition, as you said, pre-writing. And here we are, like, still talking about these things. And this is why I do this. This is why I am who I am. And this is why I recognize I'm not perfect. And I'm here as an imperfect entity. I'm going to be wrong so many times, and I don't care. I don't give a crap. You're like, oh, this guy doesn't know what he's talking about forever. Yeah, F off. You're right. I don't. But guess what? If you're emphatic about what you do know, let's talk, because I'm pretty sure there's some things you're missing. So let's talk about what we're missing. What else you got? You're the best, brother.
If any of you out there like to read novels, there is a singular novel called Lord of Light by an author called Roger Zelazny. And it touches upon what we're talking about here. I won't say any more about it, but it's a good read. It's just one book. Check it out if anybody has an interest. Other than that, I'm good.
You're the best. No, you're more than good. You are sublime. You are fantastic. You are part of this, and I appreciate you very much. Thank you for bringing different ideas, different angles to these familiar ideas. That's the point. You are the best. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for being part of this. You know him, you love him. That's Eric in Ohio. Again, you know where to find him, right? You know where to find him? I'll tell you. Super easy. Because we've made it easy. TroubledMinds.org. Go to the website, click on friends or /friends if you want to go directly. Yeah, scroll down. It says follow Eric here. He's got a link tree. Go check out the things he's working on. No, you're the best, brother. Appreciate you very much. Thanks for calling in. Thanks for staying up late with us. And you have a great night. We'll talk to you soon. That's the point. Like, look. If we're not helping each other, we're doing the general public a disservice. Okay, we just are. Like, think about, like I said, ask yourself this question, by the way. What audio, radio style show can you listen to that's more in-depth, open-minded, and thorough than we are? Look, me aside, I'm a rambling mess 2/3 of the time. But that's intentional. It's to talk to people. Like I said, I could just read the write-up straight through, and I would sound like a genius. But I defer sounding like a genius to talk to people. You get it? Hey, welcome to Troubled Minds. TroubledMinds.org/friends. Scroll down. Click on Eric. Go follow a talented musician. He's building all kinds of amazing tools for music. He's writing all kinds of amazing things. And of course, he's telling us all kinds of amazing ideas. That's the point. That's the point. Hey, you guys are the best. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for being part of this. James, final thought, and let's get the hell out of here.
Yeah, just great calls from everyone all night. And it's amazing how all the different points of view tonight. And with all this, I do think that whenever there's any kind of push to gather power and energy from people in large groups, whatever names it uses, any of those things, that's a problem. And that's not counting things that people sort of believe themselves that help them get by. To me, there's differences between those things, even though there's some people that say there's not. But any large organization, it can have great ideas, but if people at the top start demanding everything has to be a certain way, that's not good either. So, and this goes with all the levels of everything from the politics and religion to the paranormal and to all these labeling all these things. Again, I don't know what any of this is. I don't know where any of it comes from. I think it's all from everywhere. But again, bottom line is I don't know.
Nor do I. But I will keep asking and keep learning and keep sort of stabbing narratives into the ether that maybe hit something poignant. That's why we're here. You're the best. Please give James a follow. SalsidoParanormal.com, SALSIDO Paranormal.com. A dear friend, the glue of the show, all the stuff. Also, Jen, again, co-host with him on the weekends. Thank you for the call earlier, Jen. Please follow these people. TroubledMinds.org/friends. Scroll down, click the thing, and just, like I said, mostly it's free. Like this is the thing, right? Like in an attention economy, the craziest thing is like, pay $499, and people think there's value there, right? Like the value is in the marketing, but like many of the ideas that come out of this show, this is free. Like, think about it. How many of you paid to listen to this show? How many of you?
Drifting through.
Oops, that's the wrong button. How many of you? That's the point, right? Like you can't even give away free. So do we paywall this bitch and be like, it costs you $49.99 a month just to listen to the live shows? You see what I'm saying? It's weird. Like we have this weird dichotomy in our head where money equals value. But we have 7.5 years, coming up 8 years this next month, 8 years of conversations of wild stuff. Like I promise you, if you're like, oh, such and such, blah, 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 whoever, this got 10 million views, has talked about this. Yeah, you know who also talked about this? Us. Years ago. It's weird, right? I don't know. I think marketing is everything, but marketing also is fake. It's phony. it's trying to get you to.
Sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
A pain in the ass.
A pain in the ass for the people trying to do it, but for whatever the people that are sort of locked into the algorithm or whatever, they're being boosted. I think you should ask why. Look, and sometimes they're just like they have superior production, or they, but also many times they run ads. They run a ton of ads, and it kind of puts them, front and center. Anyway, I'm just telling you, like, think about it. Like, take tonight as a case, and where have you heard a better conversation recently that you didn't have to pay for? Right? Anyway, whatever. Help our friends. TroubledMinds.org/friends. So many of the things down there are free. People with ideas. Follow the YouTube channels. Make X accounts. Follow. You do all the things. Please, please, please. I say it like 10 times a show. Help our friends. That's what this is all about. That's it. Thank you for the sub. Stargazer, what's up, Miss Honeybee? I see you guys. Ioxy. Appreciate all the ideas out there. Look, this is the point. Look, and if you want to be mad about anything we do, just aim it at me. Okay? I'm the guy that's wrong. All right? That's it. All the things I said tonight, I'm totally wrong about. And guess what? You bet your bippy, God willing, I'll be here on Tuesday. Wrong again, because we're going to do part 2 of this, because we didn't even get to Rudolf Steiner. We didn't get to Ariman. We didn't get to Lucifer and the Christ consciousness. We didn't get to any of this stuff, which is part of the write-up. Please go read the write-up. Read the Troubled Minds newsletter. You can find that at troubledminds.org. Click the thing on top, which will brief you for the next one if you want to call in and talk about this, because that's the whole idea. We take open calls and we want to talk about these ideas. Hit the subscribe to our newsletter on Substack right there on the top over there. It's in the middle. You can't miss it. Please do that. And go read the one tonight, and you'll see that we left 85% of the stuff on the cutting room floor, because we were talking about J.D. Vance and aliens and demons. There's so much more to this that we will hit on Tuesday night. That's that. As we finish, it goes exactly like this. Thanks to all the new people who found us. Thanks to all the great ideas that came through the chat. Thanks for being nice to each other. Look, this is what this is about. That's what this is about. This goes out to each and every one of you that have been here forever, and the new people that just found us tonight. Be sure, be strong, be true. Thank you for listening. From our troubled minds to yours, have a great night.